John Mercer looked at the particle beam test results on his screen and smiled. The new design was working better than expected. After 3 years of trial and error, his team at the United Space Defense Initiative was making real progress. He took a sip of coffee and leaned back in his chair. "John, you need to see this," Lisa Hoffman said as she rushed into his office. Her usual calm manner was replaced with barely contained excitement. "What is it?" John asked, turning away from his screen. "I was running standard scans when I picked up a signal from beyond Pluto. It's not random. It has patterns, complex ones." Lisa handed him a tablet showing wavelength data. John studied the information. "You're sure this isn't one of our probes?" "Positive. Nothing of ours could generate this kind of signature." 3 days later, the U.S. Horizon left Earth orbit on an emergency mission. Captain Eric Stone stood on the bridge, watching the stars on the main screen as his ship accelerated to its maximum speed. "ETA to signal source is 14 days, Captain," reported the navigator, Sam Wilson. "Very good. Maintain course and speed." Eric's face was serious. After 20 years in space, he thought he had seen everything. But first contact, that was something else entirely. 2 weeks later, the U.S. Horizon slowed as it approached a small dark object floating silently in space. "Scan complete, Captain," Amy Wright said from her communication station. "It's definitely a ship. Size is approximately twice that of a standard Earth shuttle. No detectable power output except for a weak signal beacon." "Life signs?" Eric asked. "Yes, sir. The scanner shows 7 beings aboard. Life support appears to be functioning on minimal power." Eric made his decision quickly. "Send a standard greeting package on all frequencies. Tell them we're here to help if needed." For an hour, nothing happened. Then Amy's console lit up. "Captain, they're responding. Text and audio. Translating now." The bridge speakers crackled with an odd, slightly musical voice, speaking careful English. "Greetings, humans of Earth vessel. We are the Kravek. Our scout ship has suffered damage. We thank you for your offer of assistance." Eric stepped forward. "This is Captain Eric Stone of the Earth ship U.S. Horizon. We can provide technical support and supplies if needed." "Most appreciated, Captain Stone," the voice replied. "We are refugees from a distant war. Our enemies, the Theran Imperium, destroyed our homeworld. We seek only peace and shelter." Over the next few days, the human crew helped repair the alien ship. The Kravek were tall, 6-limbed beings with smooth blue skin and large eyes. They seemed grateful and shared limited information about their technology. "Their propulsion system is unlike anything I've ever seen," Lisa told John over a video call from the horizon. "It somehow bends space without creating the radiation we thought would be inevitable with such technology." John leaned closer to his screen. "What about their weapons?" "Mostly disabled in whatever incident damaged their ship. From what I can tell, they use plasma-based technology, but far more focused than our designs." As the repairs finished, the Kravek leader, who called himself Zortek, made an offer to Captain Stone. "We wish to speak with your world leaders. We can offer knowledge to help protect your species. The galaxy is not always a friendly place." Eric agreed to escort the alien ship back to Earth. As preparations were made, Amy Wright found herself troubled. Something about the alien story didn't add up. "Captain," she said privately to Eric, "have you noticed they never give specific details about this war they mentioned? And their ship's damage doesn't match any weapons fire I can recognize." Eric nodded slowly. "I've had the same feeling. Keep monitoring all their communications, but for now, we proceed as planned. If they're truly refugees, they deserve our help." As both ships turned toward the inner solar system, Zortek stood alone in his quarters, sending an encrypted message to a location far beyond Pluto. "First contact established. Humans are technologically primitive but resourceful. Defensive capabilities minimal. Proceed with Phase 2. The stars glittered coldly as the message raced outward, and Earth remained unaware of what was coming. The Luna Colony conference room buzzed with tension as world leaders gathered around the large oval table. At the head sat Zortek and two other Kravek representatives, their blue skins shimmering under the bright lights. The aliens seemed calm, but their large eyes constantly scanned the room. "We thank Earth for this warm welcome," Zortek said, his voice translated through a small device on the table. "Our people have suffered greatly at the hands of the Theran Imperium." The UN Secretary-General nodded politely. "Earth extends its sympathy to your people. We would like to learn more about this conflict." Zortek's upper limbs moved in what humans had come to recognize as a gesture of sadness. The Theran are conquerors. They destroy any civilization they cannot rule. Our homeworld refused to bow to them, so they reduced it to ash. As he spoke, images appeared on the wall screen showing planets burning and alien ships firing weapons that cut through everything in their path. "How many other species have they attacked?" asked the Chinese representative. 17 that we know of," Zortek replied. "You are fortunate. They have not yet discovered Earth, but it is only a matter of time." The room fell silent until the American president spoke. "What do you propose?" Zortek reached into a container beside him. "As thanks for your rescue, we offer this gift." He placed several devices on the table. "Basic defensive technology that may help if the Theran find you. We can provide more assistance if you join our resistance." Later that day, Peter Collins stared in amazement at the alien plasma rifle in the secure lab beneath the lunar surface. As the lead scientist assigned to analyze the Kravek technology, he could hardly contain his excitement. "The power source is like nothing we've ever developed," he told Olivia Martinez, who watched with a skeptical expression. "This small cell contains energy equivalent to 50 of our best batteries." Olivia frowned. "Doesn't it seem strange to you? They claim to be refugees, yet they carry weapons that could revolutionize our military technology." Peter shrugged. "Maybe all their people carry such weapons, given the war they described." "That's not what bothers me," Olivia said, picking up one of the smaller devices. "What bothers me is how simple these are to understand, almost like they were designed for us to figure out." John Mercer arrived at the lunar lab the next day, having been urgently summoned from Earth. Lissa Hoffman met him at the airlock, her face serious. "What's so important I had to drop everything?" John asked as they walked through the corridor. "The aliens' weapons," Lisa said quietly. "Something isn't right about them." In the lab, John carefully disassembled one of the plasma rifles while Lisa and Peter watched. After an hour, he looked up with a troubled expression. "This is deliberate," he said. "The energy routing is inefficient. The focusing mechanism is needlessly complex. It's like..." He paused, searching for the right words, like someone took an advanced design and made it worse on purpose. "You think they're hiding their true capabilities," Lisa said. It wasn't a question. John nodded. "I think these are toys compared to what they really have." Meanwhile, in a secure meeting room, global leaders debated the Kravek proposal for an alliance against the Theran Imperium. The aliens had promised more advanced technology in exchange for Earth's assistance. "We should accept their offer," one leader argued. "We need their technology." "We should proceed with caution," countered another. "What if this is not what it seems?" As they debated, Amy Wright worked in a communications lab nearby. She had been monitoring all Kravek transmissions since their arrival. Most were encrypted, but her team had just managed to decode a fragment. Her hands trembled as she read the message on her screen. "Phase 2 complete. Humans accepting primitive weapons as expected. Their technology level poses no threat. Main fleet standing by for coordinates. Begin Phase 3. Amy grabbed her phone. They needed to warn everyone before it was too late. The red dust of Mars swirled in the artificial wind as alarms blared throughout the colony. People ran for shelter as the sky darkened with approaching ships. They were not the familiar shapes of Earth vessels, but the smooth, curved hulls of Kravek attack cruisers. "This is not a drill," All civilians to emergency bunkers. The announcement repeated as families grabbed emergency packs and rushed through corridors. The first blast hit the main communication tower, cutting off Mars' colony from Earth. The second destroyed the Defense Grid Control Center. The attack was precise and devastating. In orbit, Commander Daniel Hayes watched in horror from the bridge of the EDS Defender. "Launch all fighters. Target the lid ship," he ordered. Earth ships moved to intercept the alien fleet, but the Kravek vessels easily avoided their attacks. The weapons the aliens fired were nothing like the simple plasma rifles they had shared. These cut through Earth's best shields like they weren't there. "Their weapons are at least 10 times more powerful than what they showed us," the tactical officer reported, her voice shaking. Commander Hayes gripped his chair as his ship rocked from a near miss. "Fall back to defensive position Delta. We need to protect the civilian transports." Back on Earth, John Mercer and Lisa Hoffman watched the incoming data with growing dread. The attack had begun less than 6 hours after Amy Wright's warning. There hadn't been enough time to prepare. "We need to finish the prototype," John said, turning to the partially assembled weapon on their lab table. "It's our only chance." Lisa nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. "If we combine their power source with our focusing technology, we might have something that can penetrate their shields." On Mars, the situation grew desperate. The colony's standard defenses were failing against the advanced alien weapons. In the mining sector, engineer Susan Baker watched as another building collapsed under alien fire. "We can't just hide," she told the miners gathered around her. "We need to fight back." "With what?" asked one of the miners. "Our tools against their warships." Susan looked at the heavy mining laser beside her, used for cutting through Martian rock. "Actually, yes." She began disconnecting wires and rerouting power. "Their shields are designed to stop weapons, not industrial equipment. And our cutting lasers operate on different frequencies." In the asteroid belt, the battle continued. Commander Hayes had managed to regroup his forces, using the dense field of space rocks for cover. The Kravek ships were powerful but moved in predictable patterns. "They're not adapting to our tactics," Hayes realized. "They're following standard attack protocols because they don't think they need to do anything special against us." He issued new orders to his remaining ships. Instead of confronting the aliens directly, Earth vessels began hit-and-run attacks, striking from behind asteroids and then immediately retreating. On the Kravek command ship, Fleet Lord Dreskor slammed his upper limb against the control panel. "How are these primitives still fighting? Their technology is centuries behind ours. They are using the asteroid field effectively," his second-in-command replied. "And they have adapted their tactics faster than expected." Meaningless delays, Dreskor hissed. "Send in the ground forces to finish taking the Mars colony. I want it secured before the main fleet arrives." On Mars, Susan Baker and her team of miners had converted 6 industrial lasers into makeshift weapons. They positioned them near the main entrance to the underground storage facilities, where many colonists had taken shelter. "They'll be coming through that airlock," Susan said. "That's when we hit them." When the first Kravek soldiers cut through the outer door, Susan activated the mining lasers. The aliens had expected frightened colonists, not improvised weapons that sliced through their armor. The first wave of invaders fell back in confusion. In his lab on Earth, John Mercer connected the final component of his prototype. "It's ready," he said, lifting the modified weapon. "Now we just need to get it to the front lines before it's too late." John Mercer held up a piece of the alien weapon and pointed to a small, glowing blue crystal at its center. "This is their power source," he explained to the military officers gathered around the lab table. "It's impressive, but look at how they're using it." He displayed a diagram on the screen behind him. The Kravek are routing energy through these pathways, which wastes almost 40% of the power. It's like they built a Ferrari, but installed a lawnmower engine control system. General Frank Watson leaned forward. "Can we fix it?" "We already have," Lisa Hoffman said, stepping forward with a modified weapon. We replaced their routing circuits with our own design. The result is a weapon that's almost twice as powerful as the original, using the same power source. In another part of the lab, Peter Collins was examining a captured alien shield generator. He connected it to a human-designed power system and ran a series of tests. His eyes widened at the results. "This is unexpected," he said, checking the numbers again. "Our digital control systems process energy flow more efficiently than their technology. Their computing seems more rigid." "That can't be right," one of his assistants said. "Their spaceships can travel between stars." "Yes, but that doesn't mean every aspect of their technology is superior," Peter replied. "It's like they developed certain areas but neglected others. Our computer systems are actually more advanced in terms of processing speed and adaptability." On the U.S. horizon, now serving as a mobile command center near Jupiter, Captain Eric Stone planned his next move. The ship had been conducting hit-and-run attacks against Kravek supply vessels, using Jupiter's many moons for cover. They still followed the same patterns. Eric told his crew, "They expect us to behave according to their tactical models. That's why we're still alive." Amy Wright, who had been studying alien communications nonstop, nodded in agreement. "They think in straight lines. If A happens, then B must follow. They don't adapt well to unexpected actions." In the asteroid belt, Commander Hayes had turned necessity into an advantage. His ships, though damaged, were now equipped with modified weapons. Engineers had taken the lessons from John Mercer's team and applied them to shipboard systems. "Target their lead cruiser," Hayes ordered. "Aim for the engine section." The Earth ship fired its hybrid weapon. The beam was stronger and more focused than anything humans had previously developed. It cut through the Kravek shields and damaged the alien vessel's propulsion system. On Mars, the tide was slowly turning. Susan Baker had shared her mining laser modifications with other colonists, and they now had a makeshift defense force. They couldn't match the aliens in direct combat, but they excelled at ambushes and traps. They always checked buildings in the same order, Susan told her team as they prepared another ambush. They always used the same search pattern. We can use that against them. On the Kravek command ship, Dreskor received increasingly concerning reports. "How are they improving their weapons so quickly?" he demanded, studying footage of an Earth ship firing a beam that shouldn't have been possible with their technology level. "They've modified our weapons," his science officer reported. "They've somehow made them more efficient than our own designs." "Impossible." Dreskor slammed his limb down. "They are primitives who only left their planet a century ago." "Nevertheless," the science officer continued, "they are adapting our technology to work with their systems in ways we never considered. Their approach to engineering is different." Back on Earth, Olivia Martinez presented a new military strategy to the United Earth Defense Council. "We can't match their numbers or the raw power of their fleet," she explained, "but we've identified several weaknesses in their tactics and technology." She displayed a map showing Kravek fleet movements. "They rely too heavily on standard attack formations. They don't expect us to target specific systems on their ships. And most importantly, they underestimate how quickly we can adapt." John Mercer stood next to her, holding the latest prototype weapon. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Every day we understand their technology better, and every day we make it work more effectively than they ever did." The Defense Council members looked at each other. For the first time since the invasion began, there was a glimmer of hope in their eyes. John Mercer stood in the testing chamber, the new weapon heavy in his hands. 6 weeks of non-stop work had led to this moment. The hybrid human-alien device, nicknamed Thunderbolt, combined Kravek energy technology with human focusing systems. "All sensors are recording," Lisa Hoffman said from behind the safety barrier. "Whenever you're ready." John took a deep breath and aimed at the target, a piece of Kravek ship armor recovered from a downed vessel. He pulled the trigger. The brilliant blue beam, much more focused than the original alien weapons, shot across the room. When it hit the armor, the metal didn't just melt, It vaporized instantly. The room fell silent. Then the technicians burst into applause. Energy output is 350% higher than the original Kravek design, Lisa announced, checking the readings. And it's stable. John lowered the weapon, his face showing both pride and concern. We need to get these into production immediately. Every ship, every defense station needs them. In her communications lab, Amy Wright had made her own breakthrough. After weeks of collecting and analyzing Kravek transmissions, she had created a translation matrix that could decode their military communications in real time. They're bringing their fleet into these positions, she explained to Captain Stone, highlighting points on a star map. They don't know we can understand their orders now. Eric studied the map carefully. They're spreading their forces thin to cover all the colonies. That's our opportunity. On Mars, Susan Baker led a team through underground tunnels. They carried backpacks filled with mining explosives modified with alien power cells. The combination made them 5 times more powerful than standard human explosives. The Kravek have set up their main base in the North Valley, she told her team. They'd never searched these old mining tunnels. They run directly beneath their position. One of the miners looked nervous. We're really going to take out their entire base. Susan nodded. Plant the charges at these support points. When they blow, the whole valley floor will collapse. In Earth orbit, Commander Hayes prepared the first coordinated counterattack. 20 ships, all equipped with the new Thunderbolt weapons, moved into position. Each captain had memorized the plan developed by Olivia Martinez, a strategy that went against conventional military doctrine, but exploited the Kravek's predictable responses. Remember, Hayes told his captains, they expect us to target their largest ships first. Instead, we're going after their communication vessels. Without coordination, their fleet becomes individual ships, not a unified force. The Earth fleet jumped to Mars orbit, appearing behind the Kravek positions. As predicted, the aliens began to turn their ships in a standard defensive formation. Fire, ordered Hayes. The human ships fired their Thunderbolt weapons simultaneously, each targeting a different Kravek communication ship. The powerful beams cut through the alien shields like they weren't there. 11 of the 15 targeted vessels exploded or lost power immediately. On the Kravek command ship, alarms blared as communication failures cascaded across the fleet. Dreskor watched in disbelief as the tactical display showed his ships losing coordination. How did they penetrate our shields so easily? He demanded. Unknown, Fleet Lord, his science officer replied, studying the readings. The weapon's signature contains our energy pattern, but it's focused differently, more efficiently. That's impossible. They can't improve our technology. At that moment, the ground beneath the Kravek's Mars base trembled. Susan Baker and her team had detonated their charges. The valley floor collapsed, taking the entire alien installation with it. On Earth, John Mercer watched the battle data coming in. The Thunderbolt weapons were performing even better in the field than in tests. For the first time since the invasion began, Kravek ships were retreating. It's working, Lisa said, standing beside him. We're actually pushing them back. John nodded but didn't smile. This is just the beginning. They'll adapt and come back stronger. We need to keep innovating. As if confirming his words, long-range sensors detected new energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. The Kravek reinforcements had arrived, and they were bringing bigger ships with unknown weapons. The new Kravek ships were larger and more heavily armed than anything humans had faced before. They entered the solar system in a tight formation, their hulls gleaming with a strange purple metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Those aren't standard vessels, Amy Wright said, studying the sensor readings. These are from their elite fleet. They were holding back their best ships until now. In the main laboratory, John Mercer and his team worked around the clock to improve their weapons. The Thunderbolt had been effective against the first wave of Kravek ships, but early tests suggested the new alien vessels had stronger shields. We need to push our processing speed even further, John told Lisa as they modified another prototype. Their shields adapt to energy frequencies. If we can change frequencies faster than their shields can adjust, we can still break through. Lisa nodded, her tired eyes fixed on the complex circuits before her. I think our AI systems can help with that. The Kravek don't seem to use artificial intelligence the way we do. In another section of the lab, Peter Collins examined a piece of the purple metal recovered from a damaged Kravek ship. This absorbs energy in a way I've never seen before, he explained to his team. But it has a weakness. At certain frequencies, the molecular structure becomes unstable. He turned to a computer simulation. If we can hit it with alternating frequencies, we might be able to create a kind of resonance cascade, a quantum disruption. The first battle with the new Kravek fleet took place near Saturn. Earth ships, though upgraded with the latest Thunderbolt weapons, struggled against the advanced alien vessels. 3 human ships were destroyed in the first exchange. Their shields are adapting too quickly, Commander Hayes reported to Earth Command. We need the new frequency modulators immediately. Olivia Martinez studied the battle data, looking for patterns in the Kravek tactics. Unlike the first wave, these ships moved in less predictable ways. The aliens were learning. We can't match them ship for ship, she told the Defense Council. But we might be able to capture one of their vessels intact. That would give us access to their most advanced technology. The council members looked skeptical. How could we possibly capture one of their ships? Asked the European representative. Olivia displayed a plan on the main screen. We use their predictability against them one more time. They always send boarding parties to capture our ships when possible. We let them think they've disabled one of our best vessels. But it will be a trap. Captain Eric Stone volunteered his ship, the U.S. Horizon, for the mission. My crew knows the risks, he told Olivia. But we believe this could turn the tide. The plan was set in motion 3 days later. The Horizon appeared to suffer catastrophic engine failure during a skirmish near Titan. As expected, a Kravek cruiser moved in to capture the seemingly helpless vessel. Hidden within the Horizon were 50 of Earth's best soldiers, equipped with the latest hybrid weapons. As the Kravek boarding party entered through the main airlock, they found empty corridors. The trap was ready. The alien soldiers moved deeper into the ship, following standard search patterns. When they reached the main cargo bay, Captain Stone gave the signal. Hidden panels slid open, and the human soldiers opened fire with weapons specifically calibrated to penetrate Kravek armor. The surprised aliens fought back, but they were caught in a crossfire. Within minutes, most of the boarding party had been neutralized. Captain Stone then gave the second order, the counterboarding operation. 3 small, stealthy craft launched from the Horizon's hidden bay, heading for the Kravek cruiser. Inside were John Mercer, Lisa Hoffman, and 20 elite soldiers. While the aliens focused on the boarding action, the human team slipped aboard their ship through a secondary access point identified by Amy Wright's intelligence team. We have 15 minutes before they realize what's happening, John told the team as they moved through the alien corridor. Head for the central computer core. The human team encountered resistance but pushed through with their superior weapons. When they reached the ship's command center, Lisa connected a specialized device to the alien computer system. Download in progress, she reported. We're copying their entire tactical database. On the bridge of his flagship, Dreskor received the alarming news. Humans have boarded the Vengeance. How is this possible? Before his officers could respond, the captured cruiser's engines flared to life. The ship turned away from the Horizon and accelerated rapidly, jumping to Earth orbit before the Kravek fleet could respond. The humans had captured the most advanced alien warship in the solar system, along with its complete technology database. John Mercer stared at the holographic display, his face pale in its blue light. The captured Kravek database had revealed something that changed everything. They call it the Star Killer, he explained to the emergency council meeting. It's a weapon designed to destabilize a star's fusion reaction, causing it to release a massive solar flare in a specific direction. They were saving it as a last resort. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Such a weapon could wipe out all life on Earth with a single shot. Why haven't they used it already? Asked General Watson. Lisa Hoffman stepped forward. According to their records, they've never successfully deployed it. The weapon works in theory, but they've been unable to solve a critical design problem. The energy matrix becomes unstable during the targeting phase. So we're safe? Someone asked hopefully. John shook his head. They're desperate now. The latest communications indicate they're preparing to use it anyway, even with the flaw. They'd rather risk the weapon backfiring than admit defeat. He brought up a new diagram. But there's something else. I think we can solve their design problem. And if we can solve it, we can also develop a countermeasure. You want to fix their doomsday weapon? General Watson asked incredulously. No, John replied. I want to understand it completely so we can defend against it. And maybe create our own version, one that works properly. Lisa pointed to a complex equation on another screen. The Kravik approach to quantum field manipulation is fundamentally flawed. They're trying to force stability through brute power. Our research into quantum computing suggests a different approach. For the next week, John and Lisa led a team working nonstop on both the countermeasure and their own version of the Star Killer. The captured alien ship provided invaluable data about how the weapon worked. Meanwhile, Susan Baker oversaw the installation of a network of early warning sensors throughout the solar system. If the Kravik deployed their weapon, Earth would have precious minutes to respond. Place the final sensors here, here, and here, she instructed, marking points on the display. They'll detect the specific gravitational distortion the weapon creates. On the Kravik command ship, Dresskor made his decision. Prepare the Star Killer for deployment. Target Earth's sun. His science officer looked nervous. Fleet Lord, the weapon remains unstable. The targeting system could fail, causing the energy pulse to rebound on our own ships. I am aware of the risks, Dresskor replied coldly. But these humans have taken too much from us. They have stolen our technology and improved upon it. A disgrace no Kravik leader has ever faced. I would rather risk destruction than return home in defeat. The massive weapon began to charge, drawing energy from the command ship's power core. Its barrel, longer than 3 Earth battleships, aligned with the distant sun. On Earth, alarms sounded as Susan's sensors detected the weapon powering up. They're doing it, she reported to command. The Star Killer is activating. Estimated time to firing, 12 minutes. John and Lisa worked frantically to finalize their countermeasure. The device was small, surprisingly so for something meant to stop a star-destroying weapon. It's ready, John announced, securing the last component. The quantum resonance field should disrupt their targeting matrix, causing the weapon's energy to disperse harmlessly. And our version? General Watson asked. John nodded to another device on the lab table. Also ready, but let's hope we don't need it. A squadron of Earth's fastest ships, led by Captain Stone on the U.S. horizon, raced toward the Kravik position. They carried John's countermeasure device, which had only one chance to work. As the Star Killer reached full power, its barrel glowing with ominous energy, the Earth ships appeared at the edge of its firing range. Deploy the countermeasure, ordered Captain Stone. The small device launched from the horizon, heading directly toward the massive alien weapon. The Kravik ships fired at it, but the device was too small and fast to hit. As the Star Killer began its firing sequence, the countermeasure activated, creating an invisible quantum field that enveloped the weapon's barrel. Energy buildup destabilizing, reported a Kravik officer in panic. Field collapse imminent. Dresskor watched in horror as his ultimate weapon began to tear itself apart from within. The Star Killer weapon collapsed in on itself, energy arcing wildly across its surface. Instead of firing at Earth's sun, it released a pulse that disabled the Kravik command ship's main systems. Dresskor and his crew floated in the darkness of their powerless vessel, emergency lights casting eerie shadows. "We have failed," Drescore said quietly. For the first time, the proud alien's voice held something new: respect. "Send the surrender signal." Throughout the solar system, Kravek ships powered down their weapons. The war that had seemed impossible to win just months ago was over. 3 weeks later, Amy Wright led the human delegation aboard the repaired Kravek command ship. The peace talks would establish not just the terms of surrender but humanity's new place in the galactic community. "We do not understand," a Kravek diplomat said to Amy. "You were a pre-space civilization just decades ago. How did you improve our weapons beyond our own capabilities?" Amy smiled politely. "We think differently. Your people perfect a technology and then standardize it. Humans are always tinkering, always asking if something could work better." In the science lab aboard the ship, John and Lisa examined star charts with several Kravek scientists who had been assigned to assist them. "These regions belong to the Theran Imperium," one alien explained, pointing to a large section of the galaxy map. "They are the true power. We were merely their servants." John and Lisa exchanged surprised looks. "You mean the enemy you told us about when you first arrived? They're real." "Very real," the scientist replied, "and far more advanced than we are. The Kravek were sent to conquer your world before the Imperium arrived. We failed, and now both our peoples will face their wrath." The revelation changed everything. Earth and the Kravek were now unlikely allies against a common threat. The peace terms were quickly finalized, establishing a defensive alliance. 6 months later, the first joint human-Kravek research facility opened on Mars. The once devastated colony had been rebuilt, stronger than before. John Mercer led the weapons division, while Lisa Hoffman headed the energy research team. "The combination of our technologies is creating systems neither of our species could have developed alone," John told a group of visiting officials. He demonstrated a new fighter ship that incorporated the best elements of both civilizations' designs. Captain Stone and the U.S. Horizon prepared for their most important mission yet, an exploratory journey beyond the solar system. The ship had been upgraded with hybrid technology and would gather intelligence about the Theran Imperium. "We're not just exploring now," Eric told his crew. "We're the forward scouts for Earth's defense." At the new Space Force Academy in Colorado, Olivia Martinez trained the next generation of officers. Her curriculum focused on the adaptive tactics that had proven so effective against the Kravek. "The enemy will always have a weakness," she told her students. "Your job is to find it and exploit it before they realize what you're doing." On the training field outside, new recruits practiced with weapons that would have seemed like magic just a year before. The once feared Kravek rifles, now considered obsolete, were used for basic training exercises. Susan Baker, now heading Earth's early warning defense network, stood with John at a viewport overlooking Mars. Construction drones swarmed around a massive new shipyard where vessels combining human and Kravek technology were taking shape. "Do you think we'll be ready when the Imperium comes?" she asked. John watched as a test ship powered up its engines, glowing with an energy signature neither human nor Kravek, but something new entirely. "I think they're going to be very surprised," he replied. "They're expecting to find primitive humans with captured Kravek technology. Instead, they'll face something the galaxy has never seen before." In a diplomatic meeting later that day, a Kravek engineer spoke quietly to John as they reviewed designs for a new defense system. "When we first came to Earth, we thought we were giving you toys," the alien admitted. "Simple versions of our technology that posed no threat to us. We never imagined you would not only improve them, but teach us how our own technology really works." John smiled. "That's just what humans do. We take things apart to see how they work, and then we make them better." In the depths of space, the first ships of the Theran Imperium changed course, heading toward the small yellow star where two species were building something unexpected, a future neither conqueror had anticipated.